So what we're going to talk about today is a situation based on a classic film, a particular setup, and how it communicates, and let's just see where that's going to take us. So we're just going to jump in now. So this is from Disney's version of Pinocchio, and we're looking at the scene where it comes at the point in the film where Pinocchio has gone off on a lark with Stromboli, the puppeteer, and he's actually been invited to be part of the puppet show, and has just had his big success. So this is after the show, sitting in Stromboli's wagon while Stromboli is busy eating dinner and counting his money using this gigantic knife for both activities. There's this great stuff where he spears olives and sticks them in his mouth off the edge of the knife and stuff. It's quite amazing. While Pinocchio sits on the edge of the table and watches him. And what we're going to see here is what I would say is a classical setup in terms of a very important aspect of storytelling is who has the power, which is something that often as you watch a story and watch this, you'll see how power is often shifting continuously in a story among various characters being passed around like a talking stick. In this case, what we've got is Pinocchio small on the screen, down low in the left-hand corner, and very importantly blocked in by both the edge of the table, which goes right off the edge of the screen, and by a wall by the left-hand side of the screen, effectively blocking him in, which becomes important because we have Stromboli, when he shows up, is going to be looming over Pinocchio, and what we'll see is that Pinocchio is trapped. The physical placement on the screen and the use of the table and the left side of the screen is effectively giving him no place to escape. You're always thinking about getting room on the screen for movement to happen. In this case, they deliberately take room away, so there is no place for Pinocchio to go. Now, it's interesting here. Now, one thing, actually, I'm going to encourage you, Bryce, to actually move Stromboli up a little bit more so that he really is high up on the screen. There's more room for him to hang over Pinocchio. It's going to be a little bit more dramatic for this section. Now, part of what's interesting here is to think of this from the audience's point of view. What we're doing here is we've already well established this. Thank you for that movement. What we've established here already through the sequence that came before, which I'm not going to go into detail. You'll have to go see the film yourself to see what I'm talking about. But we've established, I'm not going to tell you how they did it, in other words, that you'll need to find out. But we've established that Pinocchio is not understanding that he's in danger. Stromboli is giving lots of clues that the audience has seen and that Pinocchio is not responded to. And what this is doing to the audience is making us more and more afraid for Pinocchio. We're realizing that he's in danger, he doesn't know he's in danger, and what we instinctively want to do in that case is to reach in and pull him out of the screen, and out of danger, and we can't do it. So we're kind of held in thrall to make sure that that he's all right. Kind of like, you know, the way people will stop for traffic accidents and where they can't do anything, they still want to make sure that ambulances arrive on time and that people are getting the care that they need. It's a deep instinct, and it's something you can do with your audiences. What it becomes is a game of who knows what. In this case, we know something, Stromboli may or may not. Well, he knows what he wants to do, and we're getting a sense of how bad it's going to be, and only Pinocchio does not know what's going on. So that's important. And so what we're ending up with here, as we see Pinocchio sort of hanging on the edge of the screen there, looking, you know, quite innocent, and Stromboli is actually about to grab him at this point, because Pinocchio, very key point, it's the end of the day, he thinks he's going back to his his dad's place, and doesn't realize, in fact, that Stromboli is now going to make him a prisoner. He's going to actually lock him into a birdcage. So we're captured just at the moment before that happens. And so what we actually have here in the end is a classic setup, where by placement on the screen, by one down at the bottom, low, off to the edge of the screen, blocked in, the other filling most of the screen space. As you can see, it's very important to see how this is much more powerful than, for example, if Stromboli had been lower like he was originally. This way, by filling the whole screen, he's this overpowering force. He's like a wave. Imagine like a tsunami coming to overpower Pinocchio. This is really very much physically how Bryce has blocked him in, and that is a very effective use. So now let's take the traditional setting and have some fun, because what we can see is with exactly the same setup, the key components being the position of the characters on the screen and their size. Let's see if we can now reverse this. It's always fun to see that you can set up a certain rule, i.e. big characters are powerful, small characters are weak, bottom of the screen is weak, top of the screen is strong, all those things. But you can actually take exactly those rules and reverse them to get the opposite effect without any major changes. So we're not worried so much about location here, but we are worried about screen position and size. So here we have, now I don't really know where Bryce is going to go on this, so it's interesting for me to see. Okay, what's looking like, all right, we've turned Pinocchio into the king. Now that's really interesting, because what was before the trap created by the left-hand side of the screen and the edge of the table, one of the very things that was making him more of a prisoner and therefore weaker, is now actually the symbol of his strength. And by having him down low and still small, but on the throne, it's actually, it makes it clear the power he has invested in him is in the throne itself. The size of the throne becomes his power, as well as his attitude, of course, has been changed. But it actually enhances the feeling of power in a funny kind of way, as well as making it sort of more interesting that someone who looks so little obviously has such complete confidence in himself that he can be in the non-power position and still holding his own. And now we see that Stromboli is, okay, if we could make the eyebrows a little bit more of the don't hit me kind of look, Bryce, that would be excellent. Like how you exactly know what I meant by that. It's such an animator thing. Okay. Again, oh, okay, now we have Stromboli is turning into the jester. Okay, so we really have total reversal of positions. Pinocchio's got all the power now, and Stromboli is going to have to dance to his dance, apparently. And what's very interesting, let's see if we can take it further, Bryce. Yeah, let's push the pose a little bit and see what else we can do here. I'll let you get on with that. Expression's good now. And now, okay. Oh, very nice. Now, isn't that interesting, actually? Isn't this nice? Because before, now his feet off the ground. That's really interesting. It's the same position, but it's like he's having to leap up into there. That dancing, actually, again, is really weakening him, because now, oh, Pinocchio is now, he's weighted and grounded in his low position, whereas Stromboli is up in the air. Isn't that cool? And therefore, also that much more ridiculous in that pose. And, of course, what happens here is everything that made Stromboli strong is now being used against him. The fact that he's so large, the fact that he fills the screen, the fact that he's high up on the screen, all the factors that enhanced his power previously now make him that much more ridiculous, because in spite of all that stuff, he is absolutely held to the power of Pinocchio. That's very, very cool. This presentation was loosely based on Walt Disney's Pinocchio and solidly based on principles found in Animation Unleashed.